let's get started. Today we have actually quite an exciting topic. It's if I can get it started. There we go. Perfect. Today we are actually kind of setting the scene for first of all negotiation of a relationship in a partnership, and we look a little bit at the kind of starting points for actually a good relationship. Yeah. So what do we need to have there? So we start by importance of negotiation. Look at it as well a little bit in terms of like underlining principles that may help us in negotiation, that make us a partner that worth negotiating with. Process implication, and as well a little bit negotiation skills. And the seminar we look at two different scenarios. So one is a plea for influencing, yeah? And I want to get your perspective on. We have a few discussion points around that. And then afterwards we have a look at relationship impact, implications on the relationship when you do start actually changing at a later stage, and how it impacts on potentially your project. Yeah. Now, partnering success is quite an interesting one. So there is, of course, the argument about equity, so a little bit entertainment on the left to kind of consider. But partnerships are, of course, about relationships. Yeah, we kind of had that at the beginning. Yeah, and we have as well a lot of terminology that kind of bring us back to direct human relationships. Yeah, so we talk actually of marriage. And when you do business is quite interesting, yeah. Then you have as well the purpose of partnership, yeah, that is to achieve together what we could not achieve alone, and the need to create trust, equity, mutual accountability as well, and maybe less determined by the structure of the relationship than by the practice or certain behavior. So what do I mean by that? It can be as well that you have very concrete contractual arrangements, but you don't need to rely on them because you have a good dialogue. Yeah? So this is the idea of it. The opposite is worse. Yeah? If you just interact with the contract in the hand and say, hey, you should give me those resources now. Yeah, this is when you're on the other side. It's of course very easy to fall in that temptation. So partnering is about the people, yeah, and again here wonderfully visualized. It's a multi-stakeholder, multi-sector partnerships. Especially in that setting, we have very complex landscape of stakeholders. Yeah, so depend on the establishment of good working relationships between people. So not just organizations. Yeah, if you just have it on paper, this company should work with that. That is not enough. You have to link as well the people so they can actually work sufficiently. And here you may encounter different organizations with different cultures, and often as well with different values, interests, and expectations. Yeah? So this can be even within an organization, yeah? that you are having people with different encounters here. Now, critical success factors are normally negotiated for negotiation. Negotiation is one of the key critical success factors for partnering arrangements. Yeah? So here you have negotiation of strategy is important, and as well, if you can negotiate the relationships that you expect and that your partner may expect. Yeah? So you kind of have an awareness what they're looking for.
So that's expectations outside of the written contract.
It can be in the contract. So in some you have even this contractually defined. Mm-hmm. But ideally, it's as well what a good working relationship may look like, yeah? And you don't have that in the contract. Yeah? So especially if you're in a partnership with different stakeholders, this may be very illuminating to them because they may not think that way. Does that make sense? Yeah. But we break that actually down in a lot more detail. So here the importance of negotiation. Is from commercial negotiation can involve complex range of financial, business, and contractual issues. What I miss a little bit in a lot of projects we have as well patents and use of like particular technologies, production methods that may be secret or kind of competitive advantage. Yeah, so this may actually be as well in the commercial side. Then you have the planning, conducting and analyzing the outcomes of commercial negotiations are key elements of the negotiation. And of course, developing the skills of commercial negotiation is a demanding, valuable and often personally challenging task. So, yeah, please. So you have often even, as a project manager, you bring people in that you may want to use for negotiating for you. Or the other way would be to bring in a broker. So there are different preferences really from country to country, or maybe even company setting to company setting. So there is as well kind of different understandings of this. So understanding contracts, now importance of negotiation is really highlighted there. So here, particularly in that piece of literature, you can see in many instances commercial negotiations are becoming more complicated. The speed of business has increased. Yeah, we notice this often. Sometimes projects are not picked by project managers, but by algorithm. Is it profitable enough? Yeah, then we go for it. Yeah, and we may make an offer. So this makes it very, very difficult to take actually the time to build a relationship. Yeah? And of course, placing a severe strain on those who seek negotiate the finer points of a deal. Yeah? So very interestingly, so for the Olympics, the mega project in London, one of the key success factors that they all said afterwards was the painful but very detailed negotiation of the plan. So they kind of committed to a detailed plan, which normally is not the standard in mega projects. Yeah? But this was particular for the partnership that they were involved in, the key element, and they established as well relationship arrangements, accountabilities. So very timely process if you do it that way. But worth doing maybe. And the failure to spend enough time in the detail may result in uncertainties later, giving rise to disputes and claims against all the apparently resolved issues. Yeah, so there is as well then this opportunism that may arise depending on how tight their budgets are. People may see this as a survival mechanism to use that actually. Yeah.
So by that, Rob, do you mean by people entering relationships knowing there is a potential to exploit something that they're not highlighting? Yeah, so for example, you may have seen in past relationships that the detail is not negotiated, which comes at the later stage when kind of the project is there, and that there's a remit where you can bid for a project and probably still raise more money by probably bringing it up to a better standard, which they probably need in the first place, but haven't specified. Yeah. So especially on contracted work, this is very common. Yeah. So here, the idea is here you have a very broad statement for a job, and you know you can do it, but there are as well maybe additional expectations that have not been specified, which you can do as well, but additional costs. It's not in the project package that you bid it for. I mean, purposefully leaving gaps, knowing that you can exploit later on as well. Yeah, so this is another, so I wouldn't really phrase it that way. Sometimes it's unintended, sometimes it's purposefully done. You're quite right. I imagine it would. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and then using that room for renegotiation. Yeah, and that can then really have like a knock-on effect. I have as well beautiful illustrations later on with pictures to show you this. Yeah. So well, we have if it comes to those opportunism, it can create a win-lose situation. So we are not in a zero-sum game, right? Yeah. What you would want as a partner. As a partner, you want to play double tennis, not against each other, right? If you're on the same side of the tennis court, yeah, and one is like firing the balls to you to win, you are basically making it a lose-lose game. Does that make sense? Yeah. That was a terrible analogy, but okay, never mind. So we're after a zero-sum game, which is win-win or lose-lose. Yeah. So there at the beginning you have partnership with limited trust, but still you are willing to go in a partnership, and limited information, so they may not open everything up. Then we have the smartnership, which is informed cooperation to working seamlessly. So you have as well linked up the organizations, so you support the partner fully.
And then you have the strategic alliance, two acting as one commitment. But again, there are all kind of hybrids. If you, again, story will about Olympus in Japan, exciting documentation. If you have time, if you have an hour time to spend, well invested. I can recommend it.
What's it called, sorry?
Story Will on the BBC iPlayer, and it's about a case of Olympus, Japanese photo camera. This is probably what people know it for. In reality, they do a lot of lab material, lab equipment for medical care, for other uses as well, for universities, you know. So they were as well famous for microscope. To actually, this was the first product that made them big. And it's as well about partnership agreements, and then they had partnerships with dubious companies in Liechtenstein over 30 years that basically bought their credits. They're just a credit of 1.2 billion, as you would, and then they repaid it with buying basically offshore partnership arrangements for overpriced bits. Amazing story, and the internal dynamics. But the negotiations are kind of unraveled, so they kind of go through the agreements, and then you get as well the insights of kind of the softer parts. And it's very interesting. There's one president, a British president that came from within and was promoted, and he seems to be very promoting of the collaborations. And he said like, "Oh no, this is a bad business." And it turns out he has faced both sides. So which is one of so it shows the conflicting dynamics that you can have in a partnership like that.
How do you find that again, Rob? How do you find that?
Oh, BBC iPlayer. Oh, I see. I've promoted this well. BBC iPlayer, and it's a Story Will and story like a story, and then the village. Yeah, and I think it's the case of hiding 1.2 billion or something like that. And then it's Olympus. It's an amazing company. It's a big conglomerate. They have a lot of technologies that really help us nowadays. They are drivers as well of innovation. And they were there, strategic alliance. And that made a lot of people question it. If you do it that way. And it's a clash of cultures, relationships. That is what the whole movie is about, if you look at it. Now, we have kind of models that are commonly used for kind of a structured approach to evaluate. We had that already. So this is kind of the procurement process and competitive dialogue that you should strive to engage with. I have actually broken it down a little bit more functional. Now, this is kind of the key element, but you see this focuses largely on a contractual arrangements. You know, some partnerships are a lot lighter. You may have just a written agreement, not to form a contract. Yeah, but again, it's the key notion is that actually there's a stage called notice, but the key is on the dialogue phase here, and tendering as well for the capacities that you're trying to get. Now the interesting thing is, if you miss out on that, the pitfalls of poor negotiation is often development of terms to stray away from wider events or factors that could have been bearing on the deal. So famous one, you talk about everything else and kind of the really kind of grindy bits, where you know that they really want to get the insight, but you avoid this. You talk about everything else. So this is can happen quite easily. Counterintuitive, but happens a lot. Then the negotiations take too much management time to the determined of priorities. So if you're negotiating which detail goes in for a very long time, then you don't have the greater picture anymore. But this may be an interest because it's a particular part. So I show you as well later how we can actually prioritize it quite easily. Then the negotiation process lacks structure. The monument of the deal takes over. So particularly in bigger deals, or if it's a substantial deal that you're doing for your company or project, then it's quite easy to kind of start determining what you are doing, which you have to be careful with, because it may take you out of your comfort or what you are actually doing. And decision points and authority levels are unclear and overly complex. So that is another one. Considerable effort is expected in building models from scratch to support negotiations on a deal terms. This is well an interesting one. And then a regulatory issue, merger control, tax or legal accounting, delays or blocks the deal at the last minute. Especially if you go for monopoly, yeah. So you and your main competitor go together, and there's nobody else in the market. Then you can expect that there will be certain barriers in many countries. Yeah. So yeah, that may be another.
Well, all of these pitfalls can happen once you're in the partnering arrangement.
Yeah, this is when you're in the process, and if you don't negotiate it properly,
it can happen once you're in there as well.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So this is kind of from poor negotiation.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if the negotiation hasn't covered kind of the key points, this is very likely to be a pitfall of it going wrong. Yeah. Now, preparing for negotiation is kind of 4 stages. We will go through it. So you have a preparation stage. This is, of course, as well analyzing kind of your part and your partner's part. Exchanging information, and you see it goes both direction along with bargaining, to really come kind of to an agreement. And then we have closing and commitment. Now, when we break this down, sorry, I break that down later on, but we, especially in the renegotiation, this is the picture I wanted to show. Yeah? When you just thought you have settled and the negotiation is over, and then your partner comes, oh, good to see you, by the way, we have to renegotiate. It's, oh no, how could that happen? Yeah? So I've actually felt like that before. But okay, the adverse financial ramification of large PFI contracts, that is a classical one, especially in the UK. Need to cut or reshape or rescope services, that was a famous one. So you had agreed something, you had agreed kind of how much investment you wanted to make, and then your partner comes back, I just got a quarter of the budget. Okay, let's sit down again. Yeah, so this is very bad. Yeah, you get the idea. So it has a knock-on effect. Also, we're looking for your partners to reduce their profit margin. Yeah, I've noticed in the fine print you are aiming here at 80% profit. Can you maybe bring it a little bit down? Yeah. So they may see an opportunity. Yeah, because you may create a market dynamic where you can set prices. So this is especially in big deals often the case. Then you have as well renegotiation can still be a win-win. So don't give up at that point, and avoid the exploding head. Negotiation skills. Well, bring back our broker. That's a classic one. So there are different ways of doing this. I've broken it down as well a little bit. So you can use, of course, a broker, but again, there are wonderful models actually for this. Negotiation equals influencing. Now, influencing. Is influencing good? Is this something that is legitimate? How do you feel in your family? You're having a family evening, and now your youngest is influencing. It's supposed to be a theme pirate party. How do you feel about this? Okay, that was a bad example. Some people are worried about this. Okay, it doesn't have to be a theme pirate party, but how do you feel if members of your family influence the previous set agenda? Is that okay?
Depends on how much authority they have.
Okay, so you are basically, hey, where are they in the hierarchy? Yeah, what is their status of authority? Mother, father, maybe. Yourself, definitely. Yeah. Or yeah, but now other siblings, grandma, granddad. Okay, so authority is one, yeah, that maybe makes influencing legitimate or not. Other factors? You're happy with influencing, or not happy? Who thinks it's...
I think influencing comes from a position of power in one form or another.
Okay.
Whether it be family, whether it be in the business relationship, whatever it is.
Yeah.
If you have more power in that relationship, you generally have more influence.
Yeah.
Depends on how you use your power, of course.
So another source for influencing is power, yeah, so some way of leverage.
Without using a hammer to smash a nut, yeah. It's not that.
So we had authority, yeah, given in the organization. So you may have the power, but how is it? Should you influence them? Is it good or is it bad?
It's very good for you.
Oh, okay. So there may be a private and a communal or partner outcome, yeah. So you're negotiating probably as well for you, but you see as well the communal point, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a few, this is good. Now, where can we start with this? So influencing, I go clockwise, because then it's actually kind of going in a little bit more stronger notion. So here influencing, being able to persuade others and negotiate to reach agreement. So this may not actually mean, so on one side we have as well persuading, but I start here. Negotiating, listening to the need of the other party. So you come to the table and like, I want to have costumes. And then the next one, I want to have a calm family dinner without, what have pirates? I suppose swords and guns. Is that what they have? Yeah. I want a family dinner without swords and guns on the table. Yeah, something like that. So and then you're not convinced with it. Yeah, but okay, you get the idea. Yeah, so you listen to the needs of party, then getting an agreement acceptable to both sides, a win-win, establishing trust. Yeah, and when it's both sides, there are often groups and individuals on either side. Yeah, that have this. Then is now another one is knowing when to compromise, making concessions for agreement. Yeah? So knowing as well what is a priority to you, and is it so bad to have like a pirate hat on whilst eating? This is a different. Okay. And then using open, encouraging body language. Here we come as well to kind of the hidden messages. Yeah. So this you can actually train, actually mannerism, yeah, and social skills apparently. Yeah. And then you have, or etiquette is another one if you want to read around that, especially in diplomatic circles. This is a very important thing. Then handling objections to your arguments, yeah, identifying common ground. So being as well proactive, not just like, you don't like mine, okay, I don't like yours anymore either. So this is like not going anywhere. Then you have getting your points across in a calm but assertive manner. Yeah? So as well kind of expression of temper or loud voice, calm voice, or as well expression, handling a lot with the hands, is perceived very differently, depending on your context. Yeah? Emphasizing the positive aspects of your argument, yeah? So as well kind of selling it a little bit. And now we go more and more into the arts of influencing. Then backing up points with logic, using positive language. But look, if we do this, it will be beneficial for both of us. Yeah? So along those lines. But you can see here we are drifting more into that. And then persuading, developing a line of reasoned argument. Yeah? And then last but not least, tactfully changing the views expressed by others you disagree with. Yeah? So this is kind of the final step.
You're seeing in the etiquette, what do you mean? Use the...
Oh, I see. So when it's here coming to actually the negotiation skills, yeah, there are different ways of coaching, training for project managers, and it depends a little bit on the industry and environment you're operating in. So there are cultural preferences as well. It's not just culture. So it's there's a platform how you negotiate, with whom you negotiate, and there are very different practices. Yeah? And in particular, if you are in a public-private partnership, you may deal with states of representatives of the states. So there may be a protocol to fill, and there it's recommendable to go for coaching or training. The keywords were etiquette, and mannerism and social skills for project managers. And there are a lot of coaches as well that have kind of specialized on particular sets. So a friend of mine, he has focused particularly on Great Britain, etiquette and mannerism. He does it as a consultant. It's quite a lucrative business, as it turns out. And he really likes it too, so that is another thing.
Well, so does he teach European people English etiquette?
Yeah, it's actually as well English. So he has actually a Royal Charter and for mannerism. It's the International Institute of Business and Social Communication, and he does briefings for diplomats when people come from local politicians, from backbenchers, and peace or something like that. You may have something like that, and it's a wonderful 2-day workshop with wonderful dinner. White tie dinner and it's fun to
fees and
oh yeah, okay, sorry, yeah. I've never paid the fees, I just came for the dinner. So it's yes, I should maybe not say that. But he's not the only provider, yeah, but there's a niche as well for that. And you will see as a project manager, depending on your project, if you negotiate a lot, you will see as well. I mean, here we are talking like kind of expectations in particular confined environments, but we have the same. If you agree partnership with a local authority, they may expect as well a code of conduct. Yeah? It's maybe not as precise. There may not be a protocol with people calling out what's next on the agenda, but there may be still expectations. Yeah? So it's more informal, which makes it difficult to kind of be aware of if you want to be trained for it. If you may be already aware of it. Yeah? Now, preparation for negotiations, very important. You may I've put here kind of goals and traits, but you want to understand the purpose of the partnership, why you actually want to be in this, yeah, and to kind of have a clear picture of that. In negotiations, it's quite easy to lose the plot if you kind of had a loose one at the beginning. After a good piece of persuasion, what we just influencing, you may actually drift with what you are coming for. So goals, what do you want to get out of the negotiation? Yeah, maybe write that down as well, become aware, and make sure your organization and your team is on your side and sees it. Yeah? What do you think the other person wants? This is another thing to kind of map out. Why do you think they want to come into the partnership? To prepare. As well, the traits, what do you and the other person have that you can trade? Well, why is this partnership beneficial? And map it out. Yeah? This is not just you as a project manager, get your team involved. Yeah? This is a brainstorming activity, and as well work with your detailed departments where they see potential links and map that out. That you have as well the interfaces that you need to negotiate for. Then there's plan A and plan B. Yeah? Then think as well of alternatives. If you don't reach agreement with the other person, what alternatives do you have? Yeah? And relationship-wise, what is the history of the relationship? Has everything been well, or was everything toughly negotiated and stuff happened and it was not like it was negotiated? Yeah? Could or should this history impact on the negotiation? Another one. Yeah? If you have maybe a project manager that is already kind of slightly angry from the past project, you may not want him in the negotiation, and you may ask as well from the other company, the project manager, to be changed. This is very common practice. Yeah? If there's a bad history, but you feel the relationship really benefits overall, both companies, then you may have to look for individuals that can create a better relationship. Yeah? But don't burn all your project managers. I've seen as well the opposite. You send one in that you burn with the company, and then you send the real guy that you had in the first place for this project in to kind of have a deal that is still very good for you, but to work on afterwards with them. Yeah, so this is bad. It's a fatigue element. Yeah. Okay, I've said too much there.
You're sending the project manager to create problems to send somebody else in to resolve them. Is that what you said?
Now, there's an agenda setting thing as well in the negotiation. Yeah, so imagine you work on a small project and you know that the other person needs the infrastructure to be a certain, let's be concrete. You build like a water bottling plant, and you know how big the pipes have to be to actually run your factory and high capacity. But you are just accountable for the water supply for the village. You don't really care too much about the water bottling company. Now you say, I can do the general price, this is how much the normal costs are for us, but we cannot pay for your larger network, which is a lot more expensive. And we want cleaner water, you want filters as well and stuff like that. It costs money. Yeah? And with more water you have higher flow rates. Well, anyway, long story short, you may enter in like that. You say like, actually we are not considering building any plants there at all if the water infrastructure is not sufficient for us, which is probably a lie. But you will basically burn this guy in the negotiation with the local council, for example. Yeah, does that make sense? So the council is like, oh, okay, yeah, we have no reason then to go with you in a partnership. So we would like you to have here, and then they may come back with a bit. Yeah, we can offer to kind of subsidize it a little bit more and pay 3/4 of this very expensive water network, but you have to kind of build your own water network under the land that you are using for your factory, something like that. And then you send a new guy in and say like, hey, I have new authority, I think we can do this. This can work. Yeah? And then everybody is happy, except that one guy that got a big pay check and works on a different country. Okay. So this is bad practice. Yeah, this is not how you should do this, but this may happen. Yeah. Then as well, preparing for the negotiation. So here, expected outcomes. What outcome will the people be expecting from this negotiation? It's a little bit coming back to the goals, but more refined. So what does your partner maybe expect? Yeah, and establish that as well. Very important. Yeah. The consequences, what are the consequences for you of winning or losing the negotiation? So what is, if it doesn't go, is there a plan B? So maybe another partner lined up or an alternative, or is this like a partnership you really need? Now, when you come as well for preparation, we had already legitimacy of influencing, and it has a lot to do with power. Who has what power in the relationship? And we break that down in a second. And possible solutions based on all of those considerations. What possible compromises might there be? So this is already recognizing what power bases are around and then breaking it down. Now here are the 6 laws of influence. So this is the power basis. So we had nearly all of them, right? We had authority. We had what else did we have? Oh, we didn't have all. We had a little bit. Liking, we had scarcity as well, resource power, I guess. Yeah. Okay, but let's have a look. What are those? So so there's a law of I can't say it properly. Reciprocity. Is that how you say it?
Reciprocity. I can't say it.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah. So it's basically you come to a meeting and say, it's so nice to see you. Look what I brought you. Let's sit down. And it's like, I brought you, so in South Africa, very common, especially supply company, we had a wine and cheese basket always with us. Yeah? Look what the finest wine we could get. It's this season's hit. Yeah? And it was kind of expected. Yeah? It was the basis. And when they were coming, oh, they were so nice to us. And then you do the same. Yeah? So I'm not telling that that is good practice, but you create expectations, yeah? And then you expect it back. So they came as well back. Christmas we would get as well wonderful things like plastic caps with spring box, things like that. Anyway. So there was a lot of kind of easing the relationship going on. And here, this is a social convention which causes us to feel that we must repay in a kind, what person has provided to us. Yeah? It's building this relationship. You are becoming more favorable. It's deeply embedded in us. So if you work late, I had this situation, my little cousin wanted to see a movie with me, and I made it, but I was late. We wanted ice cream before 2, so I compensated already. In the airport, I bought some Swiss chocolate, which is incredibly hard to eat in the cinema, as it turns out, but nonetheless, I got her like kind of a present to compensate my delay for not eating. So it's well, anyway.
This would also work by doing something which is quite small, but using that later to get something bigger.
Yeah, this is exactly it. Yeah. So it builds up.
So it has something in the bank, kind of thing.
Yeah, and I suppose it's a cultural imperative in many societies. Probably all our societies here, cultural backgrounds, will have that ingrained in. If we go backwards, I bet you got presents either from your family or from friends or in your business setting. This is very common. Yeah. So it's deeply ingrained.
Whose laws are these? Who's someone written these specifically on these?
Pardon?
Are these part of a specific theory?
Yeah. So this is basically Robert Cialdi's kind of conception, yeah, of influence.
That's what I mean.
Yeah. But we go through all the stages, yeah. And we have as well later on, we have a few controversial examples. Yeah? So it's a very fine line, what is still legitimate and what isn't. And this is what we want to come to terms with. Is it okay to ask you to send in the contract a week early, and I give you in exchange these keys that belong to the Porsche that stands outside? Is that okay or not? Yeah. In the 80s, this was common practice in Berlin. Yeah, we all had wonderful cars at the time. It's not fully true, but there was. Yeah. So it was a common practice, what I'm saying. Yeah, but of course there are implications. Then the law of commitment and consistency. Again, this is the concept. Yeah, it's not a real law. Yeah, it's not written down. We don't have to obey to this. Yeah. It's commitment and consistency in action, so it's agenda setting as well. Do you consider yourself to be a champion of human rights? Yes, no? Absolutely. I believe basic freedoms must be protected. It's based on how it's phrased. Yeah. Same here. Make a difference. Donate today, support the human rights campaign. Donate. I should really make a donation. What's the difference? Is he doing?
Committed.
Yeah. Yeah, because there are other implications. So the idea is, once we take a choice or a stand, we experience internal and external pressure to stick to that commitment. Here, not so much. Yeah, but in the succession, yes, you want to do it. If it would be only this one, yeah, I don't know, maybe later. Yeah. Okay. No, we would of course do this for the good cause. Yeah. Then the law of social proof. Oh yeah, this is just a joke, of course. But this is the case of keeping up with the Jones. So if everybody has an iPad, I should get one too. Yeah? So it's like peer pressure, if you want as well. Yeah? So what is this line for? I don't know. I just saw everybody standing here and figured it must be good. Yeah? So I queue too. So it's quite an interesting one. Then we have the law of liking. Now, actually, I should have really asked. Are you familiar with all of those so far? No. Which one not?
Well, I haven't heard of the psychology of persuasion or the
this one.
The law of reciprocity.
So you didn't like this one?
Reciprocity or something. How do you say that?
Yeah. So you didn't like it, yeah?
Oh, it's not that I don't like it. I've just never heard of it.
Oh, yeah, but you have come across it.
No. Yeah, I understand the concept. That yeah.
So you didn't get like a free sandwich to try, to maybe persuade you to come to the restaurant?
Yeah, I understand the concept. I've just never heard of the phrase "the law."
Oh, okay. Yeah, sorry. This is just this model that kind of tries to summarize, if you want, the dominant forces that stand behind influencing. Yeah?
Well, I might challenge that because some people naturally want to give to people just out of their own goodwill. They don't usually expect something, or they might be doing it with a hidden agenda. So it depends, really. I think.
Yeah, okay, but here you just question the intent. So you are still influenced. Yeah. So you may still have just good intent. Yeah. So you may think like, you know what, I have too much. I want you to have some too, to have a good time. You're still influencing them. Yeah. So there's this is not always so. This influencing is actually neutral. Yeah? It can be used for good and bad. If you want to go in a good and bad divide. Yeah. But or it can be used for very private interest. Yeah, that you're hoping to have that. Or it can just be because you think this may be better for them. But it's still influencing. Yeah. Does that make sense? Yeah. As well. Law of social proof. Then the law of liking, yeah, I have experienced this. So hi, I like this. I like you. Yeah, so this is an interesting one. People are more likely to buy a product from someone that they actually like. Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah. Can you all? Yeah. And then the law of authority. So this is this gets actually deeper. This is legitimacy or authority of the source that is important. Yeah. So we had the wonderful example, the authority in the family earlier on, influencing the table. Yeah. So this was kind of your topic. Yeah. So respect my authority as a theme. And then we have as well the law of scarcity. The more scarce something is, the more valuable it seems. Yeah, so availability. Yeah, last two. Does that make sense? There are only two remaining left. And you're like, oh, I like it. Do I really want one? There are only two left. I better get one. Yeah, before it's gone. Yeah, does that make sense? And then we have the actually I have for later on I have a little bit a controversial case where we have to discuss it. Now Cohen and Bradford have kind of a different influence model, and the key is kind of without authority. Yeah, so they kind of claim authority as a platform is actually socially something that you have to learn. We know that from children. Yeah. If you take children from all over the world, they don't naturally respond to allocated authority. They may respond to relationship builds. Yeah? So this depends how you harvest the relationship with your child as parents, for example, or if you have foster parents well, anyway, long story short, here's a model. So Cohen and Bradford's influence model is that authority is actually a problematic concept. You should convince them. So it doesn't always guarantee that you will get support and commitment from those around you, and it can create fear and motivate people to act for the wrong reasons. So you don't get the biased. So this is why it is not useful to learn how to influence others with, well, this is why you should learn how to influence others without authority. Yeah? So this is kind of, so you have it as a playground anyway, probably as a project manager, but if you want to influence successfully and have people on board, it's better to not play that card. Yeah? Don't just say like, you have to do so because I'm saying so, which is a great reason, yeah? But it's better to look for a different one. So the change of agendas, agent's dilemma, how to influence change without authority. It's an old chestnut. You need to help. You need help from someone over whom you have no authority. Well, the other person is resisting helping you. You don't have a good relationship with the person from who you need help. You have one opportunity to ask the person for help, so you don't have the regular contact. You don't know the other person well. Those are the classical dilemmas. What can we do? Now the model steps kind of suggest assume everybody is your ally. Start with that kind of inner mindset, because it changes your body language. You are perceived in a different set. Doesn't look like you want to steal from them and run off with it. This is kind of an important notion to recognize. Yeah? I don't know what's wrong in my mind. There's still a pirate scene going. My apologies for that. So assume all are potential allies. Yeah, then clarify your goals and priorities. Yeah, so for both of you as well. Yeah, diagnose the world of the other person. So kind of try to put yourself into their perspective. Yeah, then identify relevant currencies, theirs and yours. Yeah, so what do we actually have here? Why not combine it? Yeah, this is a possibility for us. Deal with relationships and influence through and give and take. Yeah. So basically, you give and in return you can take, and it may even not be transactional, but you deal you act together. Now this is then when you have achieved it. Yeah. Now let's have a look at this. Here, assume all are potential allies. Now, allies plus friends. Yeah, so if you have friends, it's not very difficult. So influencing someone else, especially someone who seems to be being difficult, can make you feel upset, nervous, or unsure. to avoid this, hence the mindset. Yeah? Approach the situation by looking at the other person as a potential ally. Yeah? So very straightforward. I have the advantage because when I started, I was very naive. I just saw everybody as friends to play with. Yeah? If you have that mindset, this is very healthy for negotiations. Yeah? It can backfire, but yeah, never mind. It's a good starting point. Then clarify your goals and priorities, as we had in the model. Identify why you are trying to influence this person. What is it that you need from them? Yeah? What are your primary and secondary goals? And keep your personal wants and goals out of the situation. Does that make sense? Yeah. Then we have diagnose the world of the other person. Put yourself in our shoes. So, yeah, okay. Understand your potential ally's world and understand how they are judging. Yeah. For instance, what performance metrics do they work by, or how are they rewarded? Or what do they perceive as a reward? Yeah? And then this step can be challenging, and it will be determined whether or not you can identify this person's relevant currency. So this is as well the currency by which they're probably going, which is then the next step.
Can you give an example of it?
Yeah, so for a simple example would be the factory example that I spoke about. Yeah, so we are relying on infrastructure to build our factory. Now, I really want to build my factory and produce there. Yeah, but on the same time, I understand as well that a factory in a neighborhood is not always that popular. Yeah, and they may perceive as well as a danger that I use too much water. So I understand now their perspective. Yeah, they are probably looking for selling it as housing. Now I can accommodate this now and say, like, you know what, we built the factory in a way that it's underground so nobody sees it. Yeah, this is the Singapore strategy normally. Yeah, that may actually solve the problem. Yeah, I can still have my factory. It's underground, not a problem, and the water supply I will cater to not use too much water. Yeah? So then, if I go in the meeting, I knew already those points. Does that make sense? Yeah?
Thank you.
Now, identify relevant currencies. Here you need to identify what truly matters to the potential ally. Yeah? So Cohen and Bradford identified here 5 types of currencies that are most often valued in organizations. Inspiration-related currencies. Yeah? So public sector doing it for the greater good of the people around them. So you would hope, at least. I'm still motivated by that. So if it's possible, I will try to do it. And then task-related currencies. Is it maybe tougher to do it one way than the other? So this is a typical dilemma of the project manager. There is a way of doing it quick, or doing it the right way, but it's difficult to kind of check up. So you probably have to be there as well to follow it through if it's done properly.
That could be sustainability initiatives and stuff like that, couldn't it?
Absolutely, yeah, could be as well that, yeah. So maybe long-term commitments, versus like just the short-term gains that you can get out. Yeah, it's a tricky one. Yeah, actually, that was an interesting one because task-related currencies in the wonderful iPlayer documentation, you will see that there was a task focus because the chairman was rewarded on short-term profits. So if he could raise the profit margins from year to year, then this was very good. So whilst the other guys were thinking kind of in like 50 years partnership terms with offshore banks and groups that they have in Liechtenstein and I think it was Liechtenstein. So they were thinking very differently about it. That they wanted to keep that relationship for like bad times in case there's another like 4 billion, debt or credit arising, that they can do again interesting arrangements. So then as well position-related currencies. So this can be as well something you may need something at different position levels. And I suppose positioning is another implication here, where you may want to be. So if you are working on this partnership, you may be eligible in the future to work on similar projects with this particular part. Then relationship-related currencies, like say like, hey, how about we work in the future together too? And then personal-related currency. I really like working with them. And then in the future, why don't we get together again? This was a great experience. Very simplified. But if you are interested in this, there's a lot more to this. Then deal with the relationships is another one. Analyze what kind of relationship you have with this person. If you know him or her well and you are on good terms, you can directly ask him or her what you need probably. So it comes back to trust. Or if you are not on good terms or you are a complete stranger, then you need to focus on building trust and building a good relationship before you move on the final step. This doesn't necessarily mean you have to become friends, but a functionality to actually bring it forward. You have some cultures like the Germans, we consider in professional relationship friendship inappropriate. So it's terrible. If you do business in Germany, you will see you often get like a German businessman in between to just avoid this kind of confrontation. And you get a broker or somebody that negotiates for you because it's tough with the Germans. Again, the Germans are not the only culture, to be fair, that have that reputation. There are a few more. Now then, there's as well the diagnosis of the other person. Here you have to understand your potential allies' world and understand how they are judging it. For instance, what performance metrics do they work by, or how do they get rewarded? If you have that, then you're on a good step. And here the step can be challenging. It will be determined. So first of all, can you get access to this? This may be actually hidden from you. But here you can as well identify if the person has a relevant currency which you can maybe engage with.
That's central to NLP, neuro-linguistic programming.
Absolutely.
The other person's world.
It's probably exactly. It's the idea of repeating and relating to their words in language terms. You're absolutely right. Okay, this is I think a good starting point. We go as well, this was kind of importance of negotiation process and of course how to create a win-win. I have as well further reading, but later on in the seminar I have 2 clips that I want to discuss with you. First of all, looking at influences and maybe getting a feeling, is it legitimate, what they're suggesting? And then in the second case as well, impact of different negotiation styles. Let them just sink in, and I'm curious to hear what you feel of the different styles. And then next week we look really at relationship management as well, what it involves. Okay.
In the seminar, because there's a paper which I haven't read, is that still to be read because I can do that lunchtime or whatever? Or is it not?
You don't. So the paper is actually kind of summarizing it. We don't base it on that.
Right.
So it's the videos that are uploaded as well. Okay. Oh, this is so painful with this. Okay, there we go.